Her name was Claire. She lived 3 houses down, a recent divorcee who moved in less than a year ago. She was in her early 30s, slim, always dressed just a little too perfectly for a casual day at home. The kind of woman who seemed to turn heads when she walked into a grocery store. We exchanged polite, neighborly words, but there was something about her. Something in the way her smile lingered a bit too long when Daniel was around, the way her eyes followed him as if he was the only man in the world. And one day, as I walked past her driveway, I noticed Daniel's car parked there. When I asked him about it later, he brushed it off. "Oh!" Claire needed help with her garage door. You know I'm handy with that stuff. I wanted to believe him. God, I tried to believe him. But my gut was screaming otherwise. The breaking point came one Friday night. Daniel claimed he had a late meeting at work. The kids were asleep, and I sat on the couch, scrolling aimlessly through my phone, when a message popped up from a mutual friend in the neighborhood. "Hey, is Daniel out tonight?" I thought I saw his car parked near Claire's. My heart stopped. I grabbed my coat, left the kids with my sister who lived nearby, and drove quietly down the street. Sure enough, his car was there, parked discreetly at the curb near Claire's house. I pulled into the shadows, my hands shaking, and watched. The curtains of her living room were drawn, but not tightly enough. Through the small gap, I saw them, Daniel, my husband, laughing, sitting far too close, then leaning in, and then kissing her. The kind of kiss that wasn't new. The kind of kiss that spoke of months of stolen moments. I felt the world tilt. My chest ached, my throat closed, and I couldn't breathe. I didn't storm in. I didn't scream. Instead, I did something colder. I pulled out my phone and hit record. I filmed them, his hand on her thigh, their lips locked, their bodies pressed together. Proof. When I finally walked up and rang the doorbell, Claire froze. Daniel turned pale, like he'd seen a ghost. "Don't stop on my account," I said, my voice steady but icy. "You seem comfortable." Claire stammered something about misunderstanding, but Daniel didn't even try to explain. He just stood there, guilt written all over his face. I held up my phone. I don't need excuses. I have the truth right here. And then I walked out. The days that followed were a blur of tears, lawyers, and painful explanations to the children. Daniel begged, pleaded, claimed it was a mistake, and that he didn't mean for it to happen. But the thing about betrayal is, it isn't an accident. Cheating doesn't just happen. It's a choice, one he made over and over, right under my nose. Claire? She avoided me after that night, though the neighborhood buzzed with whispers. Her perfect image cracked, and she became the subject of hushed gossip at every gathering. As for me, I rebuilt myself piece by piece. The pain was raw, yes, but so was the strength I didn't know I had. I refused to be the wife who silently swallowed betrayal. I exposed it, owned it, and chose myself. Because the shocking truth wasn't just that my husband cheated. It was that I had been living beside the truth all along, refusing to see it. And once I did, there was no going back. That night, after I left Claire's doorstep with the video on my phone, I didn't go straight home. I drove aimlessly, the streets blurring through my tears. Streetlights stretched into golden streaks, as if the world itself was weeping with me. I parked a deserted lot near the river and sat there in the dark, gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. My body shook, not just from anger, but from the hollow kind of grief that feels like you've been gutted from the inside out. I whispered to myself, "Why? Why wasn't I enough?" My phone buzzed again. It was Daniel. "Daniel, where are you? Please, let's talk." I stared at his name lighting up the screen, and a wave of nausea hit me. His words felt poisonous now, his voice a lie I had memorized for over a decade. I didn't answer. I let it ring until the sound cut off, leaving only silence and the rhythmic pounding of my heart. By the time I returned home, it was nearly midnight. The kids were asleep. My sister had left a note saying she tucked them in, and the house was still. But Daniel was waiting in the living room. His tie was undone, his shirt half unbuttoned, his hair disheveled, not from work, but from her, from Claire. "Anna," he said softly, standing up when I walked in. His voice was trembling, like he already knew there was no fixing this. Please, just let me explain. I set my bag down and faced him. My eyes were swollen, but my voice was steady. Explain? You mean explain why your car was outside Claire's house? Or should we skip to the part where I filmed you kissing her? His face drained of color. You recorded? Yes. I held up my phone. The truth is on here, Daniel. Not your excuses. Not your lies. Just raw, disgusting truth. He reached out, but I stepped back. His hands, the same ones that once held me with love, now felt tainted. Anna, please, he begged, his voice breaking. It's not what it looks like. I let out a bitter laugh. Oh, the oldest line in the book. Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I can't tell what I saw? Do you think her lipstick just magically appeared on your mouth? Tears filled his eyes. For a moment, I almost saw the man I once trusted. But then I remembered the shadow of Claire's living room curtain, the image of his hand sliding up her thigh, and all softness inside me hardened into stone. You didn't just break our vows, I whispered. You shattered me. The next morning was even harder. I woke up early, sitting at the kitchen table with a mug of coffee that had long gone cold. My mind spun in circles. How do you tell children their father betrayed the family? Daniel came down the stairs, his eyes red from a sleepless night. We didn't speak. The silence between us was heavier than shouting. When the kids came bounding in, cheerful and oblivious, my chest cracked open again. They hugged him, laughing, asking why he was home so early. He smiled at them, and the sight was unbearable, because for them he was still Daddy, the man who built Lego castles and cheered at soccer games. But for me, he was a stranger. I excused myself to the bathroom, shut the door, and sobbed into a towel so they wouldn't hear. By Monday, the whispers had already started. In our neighborhood, secrets don't stay buried. One woman must have seen me at Claire's door that night. Another probably saw Daniel's car too many times parked where it shouldn't be. And soon, everyone had a piece of the puzzle. At the grocery store, Mrs. Callahan gave me a pitying smile that made me want to scream. At school drop-off, other moms avoided eye contact, as if infidelity was contagious. And then came the cruelest moment. I overheard two neighbors chatting outside while watering their lawns. Did you hear about Anna and Daniel? With Claire of all people. I always knew she was trouble. Poor Anna. Their voices carried across the street like daggers. I went back inside before they could see my tears. That evening, Daniel tried again. He cornered me in the kitchen. Anna, I know I screwed up, but please, don't throw away 12 years of marriage. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. I slammed the knife I was holding onto the cutting board. So hard he flinched. Fix this. I spat. You fixed yourself between her sheets, Daniel. You didn't think of counseling when you were at Claire's house, did you? He rubbed his face, tears spilling down. I don't love her, Anna. It was just a mistake. I snapped. Cheating isn't a mistake, Daniel. It's a series of choices. Every text, every lie, every time you walked through her door instead of ours. Don't you dare minimize what you did. He collapsed into a chair, sobbing. But I felt nothing for him anymore, only a cold emptiness. And that's when I knew this wasn't my burden to carry. This wasn't my shame to hide. He had exposed himself, and I would no longer shield him from the consequences.